What is going on, my specialists? SPC here, and welcome back to an all new episode of Tales of a Star Wars Fan. Today's guest we've got here is Ricky, aka Pop the Bounty Collector. How are you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
I am doing great and I am so happy to be on this episode. I was waiting for the little knock on the door from Austin and say, "Hey, are you going to join my episode?" So I'm proud to be here. I'm ready for the questions, but how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good today. It's been a pretty good day so far. Pretty quick day at work, and I only work 4 days a week, so I got a 3 day weekend. So
Hey,
I'm
that's
set.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
Fortunately, I got to go to work tomorrow early in the morning
Ah,
and receive a
uh,
truck, but hey, that's tomorrow. I'm here with you. We're having a good time. And we're talking about Star Wars. So
we are talking about Star Wars. So, obviously, you guys all know the premise of the show. It's just five very simple, easy questions. And of course, obviously, take as long as you need to, talk as much about it as you want to. So for our very first question, Ricky, what first got you into Star Wars?
all right. So Star Wars, the original trilogy, was always on kind of like rerun on TV. Either TNT, TBS. I used to see bits and pieces, but not a fan. I knew the premise that, Darth Vader was Luke's father, and then Leia and Luke were brother and sister. Kind of that's it. Didn't know too much about it. But then in 1997, George Lucas did their like remastered, put it in movie theaters. I saw the trailers and I was like, yo, I want to go see that. So during the summers, I used to spend the summers with my uncle down in West Palm. And me and him just kind of have a bond of watching movies together. And so I told him, I said, "Hey, Uncle, I want to go to the movie theaters and see the Star Wars." Now, we're from New York, so when somebody says I got that, it's kind of like, oh, I got it, like, don't worry about it, kind of deal. So my uncle tells me I got that, and I'm like, come on, like, in New York they sell bootleg videos and stuff like that, and I wanted to see it in theaters, but he's like, "Don't worry." And I'm in the living room of his apartment. He's like, "Don't worry, I got that." Comes out of his room, and he has the original trilogy, not bootleg, but in VHS. And we spent the whole weekend watching Star Wars. So from that moment, I was a fan. That moment right there. It took me, even though I didn't get to see, I never really got to see the special edition until it came out in DVDs and I bought it. And I begged my uncle after and I said, "Hey, can I have those VHSs?" But he was not giving that up. He's like, "No, you could borrow them, you could watch them, but they stay here. I'm not giving them to you." So I had to get my own set, but shout outs to him. He passed away, I think 2, 3 years ago. But that memory has always been a piece of, that it would never go away. That my uncle got me into Star Wars.
That's honestly almost kind of what kind of got me into it. I never got to meet my uncle, but he got to go see all the original trilogy in the theaters, and he was a pretty big Star Wars fan from what my dad and my grandparents kept saying. So that's kind of like my bond with him. That's kind of the thing I have the most of with him is Star Wars. So it's nice to hear those kind of stories about just the personal stories of being able to share it with a certain family member who's not around anymore, or even like a really close friend who you're still friends with or something. I mean, those are the stories I love to hear, especially with this specific franchise, because that's kind of seems to be the biggest thing I hear a lot of.
Yeah, there's always somebody in it, and obviously, I would like my kids. I have a 16, gonna be 17-year-old daughter, junior in high school, and I got a 12, gonna be 13 this year, son Ricky Jr., who's in middle school. And I would dress them up for Halloween and Star Wars, and I would buy them lightsabers and make them watch the movies. But it wasn't until the last maybe 4 years they started really wanting to watch it. They don't watch it like immediately. Like we just finished watching Kenobi, and that was actually just my second time of watching it because I watched Kenobi once when it came out, every episode, and that's it. I never went back to it, but it was good for me to kind of rewatch it and seeing my kids' reaction. So, and then I put a post that they just dropped the Mandalorian and Grogu. That's the title of the movie. And I got my daughter into the Mandalorian. She loves it. Now, she may not be the biggest prequel, sequel, or OT fan, but just her having the love for the Mandalorian show, Grogu, her wanting me to buy the blockhead Lego of Mando and Grogu, it's that connection. So will have a story in the future if she decides to continue watching Star Wars. Who got you into Star Wars? She's gonna say my dad. And then my son watches The Bad Batch. He hasn't finished it, and every time, my kids don't live with me. I get him every other weekend. So every time he comes over, he's like, "Hey, are we gonna finish watching The Bad Batch?" So it's so cool that I grew up with the original trilogy and then the prequels, so that's all we had. And then now to how big, Disney took it to the point where now there's different animated, they watch Tales from the Jedi, they watch the Mando show, so there's different avenues for them to connect still with me in the love of Star Wars.
Hopefully, you guys can get it finished before next week. Hopefully, since the new season of the Bad Batch and the final season starts at the time of us recording this, which
Yeah,
man, I'm both excited, but I don't know, I'm
sad.
sad because
Yeah.
like I truly stood by the fact that there's no way I don't think these guys can helm their own show. And man, that first episode, I was like, okay, well, I was definitely proven wrong here.
Yeah,
So
the Bad Batch is amazing. I know season 1, A1 to me. Season 2, it was good, but it had a lot of filler episodes. And what I think season 3 is gonna be all killers, no fillers. I feel like every single episode since the last season, they're putting it all out there. You already seen the trailer. Asajj Ventress is in there. We see Cad Bane, Fennec Shan, Captain Rex. So like we're seeing all these people come in. It's like, and who else? Who else knows? Like, a lot of people's like prediction is that, Vader's still alive. Vader could be in there. We heard Palps talking in a trailer, so I have high hopes for season 3. It's gonna be sad, but I'm excited. It's 3 episodes, February 21st. Whew.
yes,
It's gonna be a
yeah,
long night, but your
yes.
boy's gonna be watching it.
I just don't. I just hope they don't bring Sid back. I did not like her at all.
That's the thing. Stayed in those side missions. I don't care. I don't care about the side missions. Let's get, to the point. But yeah, I hope they don't bring Sid back. Yeah.
Fingers crossed, man. That's all I can say. All right, for the next question, what's your favorite thing about Star Wars?
Favorite thing about Star Wars, and it's deep, right? Um, a big Darth Vader fan, but I'm a big Darth Vader fan, but I became a bigger Darth Vader fan when the prequels came out, when we got to understand Anakin Skywalker. And to think of a kid who is a slave, right? No father figure. Then he finds a father figure in Qui Gon, but he's gone. to Obi-Wan trying to be a father figure, but in the same sense, like an older brother. And if you ever had an older brother, an older sibling, or older cousin, you don't really listen to them, because they're not that parental, person in your life. And he never had that. And then the only person that he truly loved besides Padme is his mom. And to find out that, he went out to do bigger and better things. 10 years has passed, and the person that he loves the most was captured and died in his hands. He feels guilty. There's nothing he could do. That's why he's so obsessed in having powers to bring people back to life and to save the ones he loves because he couldn't save his mother. So Qui-Gon dead, mother dead, Obi-Wan always getting on him knowing that he feels like he is the best because they put that in his head that he was the chosen one. So the pressure on there. And then you have a person that he's been knowing for years, all of a sudden tells him, I know how you could save your loved ones. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want to learn those powers, regardless if they're Sith or Jedi? I want to know the ones, how to protect the ones I love, because now I love Padme, right? And then guess what? She's pregnant with my child. So I'm going to make sure I do whatever it takes to make sure that we have a better life and protect her. And he feels betrayed because obviously it wasn't the plan, but Obi-Wan got in the ship all the way to Mustafar. So now he feels that the person that he loves the most that been learning and took the steps of, he killed the Tusken Raiders, kids, pet of anger because they took their mother away. His mother's gone. Then on top of it, he feels betrayed by his loved one. He's like, okay, now I love you, and all my love is invested in you, and now you get my older brother, and you betray me. So yeah, he chokes her. He doesn't kill her, but he chokes her, right? Because he's upset now. And now here comes Obi-Wan, and he's sick and tired of Obi-Wan, constantly nagging and getting on him and getting on him when he feels like he's better than Obi-Wan, because that's what they told him, that he's the chosen one. And now he has this person talking in his ear, Palpatine. He made wrong decisions. He crossed that line that he cannot cross back. It was already he went too far. And then to know, that famous scene in Mustafar that I got the higher ground and everybody loves to do the voice, and I feel sad for Anakin in that moment. He's burning. He lost limbs. He's not the same man anymore. Now he has to live in a suit for the rest of his life. And he has that burden. He has that suit. You cannot see his emotions. But inside that mask is a man that lost his mother, lost his father figure, lost the one that he loves, and the kids. It's half of a man, cannot show his face, and went too far. Maybe he's dealing with that guilt the whole time, and he has a lot of anger because of the decisions that he made. So to me, Star Wars is amazing because a lot of people think it's just, space and ships and shooting and all that stuff, but you got to really look deep into what is George Lucas showing you? A man that took a certain path. And in life, we all got paths. Sometimes we make the right decision and sometimes we don't. And we see that in the prequels. Now we come to the OT and we see that, yeah, he's still Darth Vader, but now he sees his son. And in that moment, yeah, he wants to convert him to Palpatine, but in reality, he just wants his son to be with him. And any father that knows his child, even though you haven't been with them for many years. You want like you feel some guilt and be like, I want to connect with you. So overall, we knew if Luke was to join Darth Vader, they were going to take down Palpatine, and it was going to be father and son because that's what he wanted. And then he saw that the Palpatine was going to kill Luke, and he took the ultimate sacrifice and killed Palpatine, which we thought we did kill Palpatine, and he sacrificed, and that's when we see. I like I get it, the ghost spirit of Anakin, which is Hayden Christensen, but I like the original, the original actor. But we see that now he joined back the light side, and he protected his son, and with all the stuff that he did and killing all those Jedis back in the days. I know it doesn't make up for it, but the guy tries to redeem himself again and say, you know what, I did all these terrible things to protect the people that I love, and I just protected my love, which is my son, and I'm going to sacrifice my life just for him to continue living. So it's a deep, deep, deep story. And I know a lot of people just see the sci-fi and the cosplay and the lightsabers and they make the sound, but it's more than that to me. But that's why I love Star Wars. Star Wars has a lesson with everything. Every character has something or could connect with somebody. They're dealing with something now, and that's the thing that George Lucas tries to bring up in a sci-fi movie, but it got some deep meanings. So that's what Star Wars means to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very just tragic story if you really, like you said, if you really like just look into Anakin's story. I mean, even too, like they've expanded on it so much too, even since Disney has taken over. I mean, the Kenobi show, you've seen to
Yeah.
the extents and the lengths that he's willing to go to try to find Obi-Wan to try and kill him. You even see recently what they just did with him in Ahsoka, just having him
Yeah,
return
that
to
was
some
dope.
form and trying to help Ahsoka, trying to teach her what is going on. And I really hope we continue more of Anakin's story because obviously there's still quite a lot of story that I'm sure can still be told for Anakin. Obviously, too, I mean, I know there's gaps too. You can kind of see with like Vader's side of the story too. Like I know there's like a comic book run where he meets some, I think she's a doctor or something, and she looks just like Padme, and he's kind of like going through and rushing through his mind and everything. And that's one thing you don't get to see with him as Vader, except in episode 3, is actually see the struggle that he's actually going through. Like,
Yeah, there's
what did I
more.
do?
There's more to Vader than just what he's wearing. It's very intimidating. The breathing sound, the helmet, it's dark, it looks evil, but that's what he uses to survive. There's more to him than we seen Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was amazing. He says that you didn't kill, Anakin, I killed him, you know. And it's crazy because it was that moment, how they say the joke that it was this moment he find out he messed up.
Mhm.
And it was when he made a decision to cut Mace's arms. When you decide to cut the arms, it was that, what have I done? Yeah. What did you do? And now it's too far. It's like what he knew was gonna happen because then it was like, okay, who killed Mace or who cut Mace's arms? It was me. They were gonna take him out. So it's like it's either like I already did it, I already crossed the line, so might as well just continue. But there was, a part of him still wishes that, he probably didn't do it. But that's the struggle that we live with. Like I said, decisions that you make are going to stay with you for the rest of your life. It may not be big decisions or crazy decisions like Anakin, but every decision you make, from leaving a job, from leaving your partner, from cheating on your partner, It's so many things that you make and decisions that just stay with you. And it's either you grow from it or you just let it eat you, which I think to me it kept on eating at him throughout his whole life, even in the Vader suit. So
Yes, I would agree with that. I look at that whole thing with Anakin there. I look at it as the second he activates that saber and he cuts off Mace Windu's hand, that right there is the death of Anakin Skywalker. So he
mhm.
is gone because obviously a lot of people always talk about the duel between Obi-Wan and Anakin on Mustafar. To me, that's not Anakin. That is 100% Darth Vader. That
Yeah.
entire moment there. But obviously, that's just what everybody sees. But that's how I view this whole thing. Is at that moment when he decided to activate that saber, cut off Mace Windu's hand to save Palpatine. That was truly when Anakin Skywalker finally perished. And I feel like I already know what the answer is, especially after just discussing it. Who is your favorite Star Wars character?
You thought wrong. It's Jar Jar Binks. I'm just kidding.
What? He's got some depth.
Misa Wansa. No, I love Jar Jar, but no, Darth Vader, hands down. He made an impression, and I think he made an impression on a lot of kids. I was a teenager, but 1997, I was 15 in 1997, and just watching him in the original trilogy, man. And then again, this is not knowing Anakin's story. So just watching it from the original trilogy, I was like, man, this is a bad man. You know, a part of me thought he was a robot
Mhm.
at one part. Like, I thought, there was a big, huge robot. I'm into Power Rangers as well. So thinking about robots and Mecha, I'm like, oh, he's a big bad robot. And then finding out he is, Anakin Skywalker, and obviously the thoughts start coming. I'm like, yo, I want to see Anakin. Like he was a Jedi, you know, I want to see that, and we got it. So obviously, my love for Vader grew more with the prequels. I'm pretty sure in '97, I probably was saying Luke Skywalker, Luke Skywalker, Luke Skywalker. But as soon as I watched the prequels and got to learn the story of Anakin Skywalker, immediately, nope, Anakin slash Vader, my favorite character of all times for Star Wars. Second is Mando. Um, the Mandalorian for me, I feel got it re-energized Star Wars. Because for many years we didn't have anything, right? After episode 3, we were like, yeah, we had the Clone Wars, we had Star Wars Rebels, but at the time, I didn't watch cartoons.
Yep.
Now, my friend Tony, you know him, Star Wars Sith,
Yep.
for years kept on telling me, you need to watch Rebels, you need to watch the Clone Wars. And I told him, no, I don't watch cartoons, I only watch the movies. And so for years we didn't have anything. So when Mando came out and it just felt that season 1 beautiful. Just felt like original Star Wars, and I fell in love with the Mandalorian. He was just a badass bounty hunter. Then we start when he got the dark saber, and then he's that first episode, and you see something that looks like Yoda. I'm like, what's going on? So that's it's funny because I don't have that many Star Wars helmets, but the two helmets I do have, Vader and Mando. So that's my 1 and 2.
Yeah, mine's always been Yoda ever since I first saw him in Empire Strikes Back, which is the first film that I ever watched.
Oh,
I've just been obsessed with him so much. I mean, he's helped me so much in life just hearing some of his quotes in my head. Like I'd love to get them tattooed on me at some point, but he's just helped me so much with so many struggles I've had in life. And for quite a few years, I kept saying my second favorite character would bounce back and forth between Vader and Kylo Ren because I love both characters so
ooh.
much. But I think definitively with the way he's been handled a lot lately, I think it's honestly Vader. Hey, Vader is to me one of the greatest movie characters of all time, easily one of the best Star Wars characters. I mean, you nailed it on the head when you're talking about your favorite thing is like the story of Anakin and Vader and just the journey you go through at least the first six movies, even two if you want to include the Clone Wars in there as well, and
Yeah.
knowing all the backstory and everything. I mean, it's hard not to like Vader. I'd be surprised if I ever heard Vader was somebody's least favorite Star Wars character. You never know. I'm sure somebody's
Well, I
out
mean,
there.
I know there's some people that I guess Vader is like a popular answer. You know,
Yeah,
if you ask anybody what is your favorite movie in Star Wars, a lot of people are going to say Empire Strikes Back, right? And it sucks because Empire Strikes Back is an amazing movie. At the time it came out, for someone to deliver a sequel, right? And everybody was high on A New Hope in 1977. For you to deliver Empire Strikes Back in 1980, and some people again think that Empire Strikes Back is better than New Hope. That's hard to do. It's hard to deliver an impactful movie and say, "Wait, I got another one." Boom. So I get why Empire Strikes Back is, and then that fighting scene between Luke and Vader. I watch that all the time. I love that fighting scene between them two in Empire Strikes Back. But yeah, it's a popular answer. So a lot of people are gonna say Vader. Oh, that's a popular answer. Second popular answer is Luke. You know, Luke is the OG. A non-popular answer is like Jar Jar Binks. You know, but hey, you're gonna find everybody's gonna find somebody they connect with. But to me, the reason why Anakin, and I always say Anakin slash Vader, they are the same person. Um, is because Star Wars is that's the story of Anakin Skywalker. I get it that the original trilogy focuses on Luke, but at the end of the day, from 1 to 6 is the Skywalker saga. It's all about Anakin and his journey from a young slave kid all the way to redemption and saving his son and risking his life all through that. So to me, it's all about Anakin slash Vader.
we agree with that. All right, for the next question, what is your favorite Star Wars moment?
Ooh, there. Wow. That is that's a tough moment, isn't I mean, favorite Star Wars moment. I know the Battle of Mustafar is gonna be a lot of people's favorites. Um I gotta go back to episode 2. The battle in Geonosis, even though to some people it might seem kind of like a word corny or goofy because the Geonosians look like crickets and all that stuff, and but the battle of for me was we I grew up with just Luke being a Jedi, the only Jedi, because Yoda's gone, and then you have Vader that used to be a Jedi, but he's not a Jedi no more, so there's not a lot of Jedis. And then you go to the prequels where you see Qui-Gon who's a Jedi, Obi-Wan's a Jedi. You see the Jedi Council for a little bit, but we don't see that many battles. But when you get the battle in Geonosis and you see Mace Windu cut the head of Django and you see them fighting, that was amazing because that's the moment that I've been waiting for to see more Jedis fight. And that's why I'm more excited for Acolyte, the show, because I was in Celebration in London last year when they showed us the trailer or whatever bits and pieces they showed us. And I saw, I think it was either 6 or 7. The way they ended the trailer was 6 or 7 Jedi's just igniting their lightsaber, all of them at once at the same time. And then they cut it off. And I was like, oh my God. Yes. Because we always hear stories of Jedi's versus Sith, big battles, but we never see it. You might read about it, it might be comics, somebody might draw it, but we never seen it live in the movies. And when that battle of Geonosis, I remember seeing the movie for the first time. My head was like, "Where do I go? Where do I see?" Because there's so many things happening at the same time. And this was midnight release for episode 2. So just seeing that, and then the days of waiting for the movie to come out in DVD so you can see the behind the scenes, so you can watch the movie again, either a uncut version, that battle, and then it kind of leads to the gunships coming down and Yoda. So those was a big deal for me, was the Battle of Geonosis slash, I also have to say, because it's in the same movie, seeing Yoda fight for the first time. We always, we get the funny Yoda in Empire, and you're like, this is a Jedi Master, this guy right here. Uh, so you don't really think of him battling, but seeing him take the lightsaber out and fight Dooku, even though a lot of people don't like that he's bouncing everywhere. I mean, the guy's short, man. He's got to balance and do all these other things to avoid the lightsaber. But him versus Dooku, perfect for me. Geonosis fight is amazing.
And yeah, what's your favorite Star Wars film?
Boom, right there. Episode 2. And okay, reason why episode 2. Think about episode 2, right? We see Jango Fett for the first time. Boba Fett, we know where Boba Fett comes from.
Mhm.
He's a clone. We see Camino. All the clones are made there. Speaking of a Camino, we see Obi-Wan versus Jago in the rain. Awesome battle between them two. And then we see a young Boba Fett get on Slave One and start shooting at Obi-Wan. That's amazing, just that part right there. Then you get Anakin, right? He's grown up, got the Padawan braid, not listening, being a rebel, setting things up, chasing down the assassin. That's amazing right there too. Then Mace, you get to see Mace in action. You get to see a lot of Jedi's in action. You get the battle of Dooku and Anakin because Obi-Wan got knocked out. It's so funny that Obi-Wan gets knocked out early in certain parts of the movie. Just the same thing that happened when they try to rescue Palpatine in episode 3. Obi-Wan gets knocked out kind of
Yep.
quick. But seeing Anakin and how he lost his hand, seeing Dooku versus Yoda. So many things happen in that movie that, again, we're tying, and George is tying everything together so we can figure out. But that's why episode 2 is my favorite. I know a lot of people say Empire Strikes Back, amazing movie, not gonna knock that out. Another people that love the prequels, they're gonna say Revenge of the Sith, another amazing movie. That fight scene in Mustafar, amazing. But to me, episode 2, it's a lot going on, and we kind of see the anger of Vader, aka Anakin Skywalker. That anger starts because he slaughtered all those Tusken Raiders, and that should have been a red flag for Padme. That should have been like, what? Okay, I can't deal with you no more. But she continued, and it shows that he lost his mother right there. That was a pivotal point. You want to say, when did it turn? It wasn't Palpatine talking to him, and about the Sith and all that stuff, and Darth Plagueis Day. It wasn't that. The pivotal point is when he lost his mother. Could Anakin not have converted to the dark side if his mother was still alive? What if the things were different if he went and rescued his mom? and she was alive. He just took her out of there. He didn't kill the Tusken Raiders. Could things have been different? Could Anakin now been like, okay, well, I rescued my mom and I want to protect her. So now I'm going to be around my mom the whole time. And his mom's going to give him advice. Even though it's not like fatherly advice or having that father figure, his mom would be alive. His mom would be like, Anakin, you know better. Don't do these things. You know, I love you. So it could have been different. So to me, episode two, and I know it's the middle part of the prequels, but that is the moment it changed. Because now his mother's dead, and he killed a whole bunch of Tusken Raiders. They're people, right? So he didn't care. Even the kids, even the dogs, killed them all, slaughtered them, like he said,
Hmm.
like animals. So that's the pivotal point. And again, that happens in episode two. So episode two to me, hands down, favorite movie. My second favorite, obviously, is Revenge of the Sith, and my third is Empire. Not Empire. My third is Return of the Jedi. I like Return of the Jedi more than Empire. I know people are gonna say, really, the Ewoks, but I just love that final battle between Vader, Luke in the all black suit with the green lightsaber. Just it's amazing. Like to me, I seen Luke, like you watch the original trilogy, you see Luke grow up and you like, yeah, he's a Jedi now. He's a Jedi now. So that's why Return of the Jedi is over Empire to me. But Empire is still in my top five. So
Yeah, I've honestly, I've never heard anybody say Attack of the Clones is their favorite. So that's I like it. I like the ambition. I like how it's different than, like you said, than having like Revenge of the Sith, Empire, or any of those kind of films. It's good that people have different opinions, because I think you guys have like a mutual friend. I think her favorite film is Phantom Menace, if I remember right.
who's that?
I think her name is Ray, the Ray side or something.
Oh, okay. Ray side. Oh, I didn't know her favorite movie is Phantom Menace. That's crazy. But
Yeah.
it's good though. It's good. Like a lot of people don't like Phantom Menace. And the only reason they don't like Phantom Menace is Jar Jar, but take Jar Jar out. It's still a good movie. If Jar Jar never existed, but the Gungans did, and they just went to the Gungans and asked them for help, and they help with the battle, it's good. Take out Jar Jar. Jar Jar just says funny things at funny moments, but we continue. Like you get to see Qui Gon, young Obi Wan, him chasing, running with Anakin and Tatooine, trying to get on the ship, and Maul shows up in his Sith speeder, and they have a quick battle there. It's an amazing movie. We get to see, um, was it Palpatine? You know, you see the double side, Darth Sidious and Palpatine, and the influence. So it's an amazing movie too. I think for me, there could be an argument for all movies. There
Mhm.
could be an argument for every single movie. And to me, I'm just happy because at the end of the day, when somebody says that this is their favorite movie and why, at the end of the day, I go, you're right. You're right. Because all the movies from one to six are amazing. The sequels, not talking about those.
I can say, man, I know it's unpopular, but I like the sequels for what they are. I mean, I absolutely love and adore The Force Awakens. And it's probably because of the movie theater experience I had with everybody just so excited that a new Star Wars movie was out. And that's something I'm just gonna hold true to myself. Like I love it. Like it's literally in like my top five favorite movies of all time.
I mean, I was there. Don't get me wrong. I was there. I was with the hype. The Force Awakens is the best one out of all of them. The three sequels. Um, The Last Jedi. No,
No.
no, no. It to me, you mess it up with Luke, and that's what they messed it up with Luke. Now Kylo, now, and this is nothing against. That's the thing when a lot of people assume when we talk about the sequels and how bad it is, or give our opinion and that we don't like it, they assume that we don't like Ray. I love Ray. The character Ray, Finn, Poe. mm, So so.
Yes.
I'm so so on Poe, but Ray, Finn, and Kylo. Kylo Ren, badass. The helmet, the suit, the saber. Oh, there's so much things they could have done different with that character. Because when I saw Kylo, I was in love. I love Vader. So I saw, and obviously he said grandfather. And I'm like, oh, he's trying to be like his grandfather. That's amazing. So we love those characters. I just felt like they added side characters in in the movies of the sequels that didn't make sense, and then Luke's story didn't make sense. So that's why they kind of lost me, because everybody knows Luke Skywalker's a badass.
Mhm.
You have novels, comics, the original trilogy. He's a badass. He's not some guy hiding on an island, scared. That's not Luke. So we got that. That's what kind of kills it. And that's why I think, you know, people that grew up with the original trilogy who are still alive and watch the sequels were like, no. And then the whole Ray Skywalker, no, she's a Palpatine. Leave her last name as Palpatine. And if we want to create that, she changes the last name, meaning like she changes the name from bad to good. That's amazing. Keep her as a Palpatine. Keep her as a Palpatine and make sure that she's a Palpatine is good. So I feel like they could have kept those characters, just kind of change the story a little bit, change it up. But yeah, I love, like I said, my son was dressed up as Kylo Ren. I bought him the lightsaber. I got hyped when the Force Awakens came out. I bought every single Force Awaken pop. Um, and I was out there for the midnight release. I got the 3D glasses. And then you had the Last Jedi and the Rise of Skywalker. Like, man, they could have did something a little bit more different, because the Force Awakens was good, even though like some people feel like it's a copy of A New Hope, and I get it, it has kind of similarities, but to me, I felt like okay, it was still a good movie, and it's kind of leading to, and maybe things might change, but it's good. It's a good start. I'm like, yes, a good start, and then they just go sideways, and I'm like, nah, man, wasn't feeling it. So that's why, I own the movies. I bought them. I went to the movie theaters. I got Funko Pops of them and pins of those characters. So it's not like I'm not supportive of the sequels. I'm just not a big fan of them, you know.
Yeah, I understand. I say it all the time. I'm a rare breed. I know a lot of people aren't fans of the sequels. Even people aren't just in general aren't fans of what Disney's done with Star Wars. I mean, from the sequels to the Kenobi show to Boba Fett to Mando season 3 and things like that. I mean, I'm just a guy who's really happy we're still getting Star Wars after all this time and the amount of content that we can watch. Like again, Mandalorian, Ahsoka, the Kenobi show. Now we're getting more movies here eventually later on. If
Yes.
nothing else happens. Because I will say, man, I was so excited for that Rogue Squadron movie that was supposed to come out last year.
Oh my goodness.
To hear that was scrapped, my heart broke. And I can willingly say I'm not very excited for this upcoming supposed Lando movie. I don't think I don't know. Not anything against Donald Glover. I thought he played the character amazing in Solo, but I think a little mini TV series would benefit that character much more than.
I think to me it's you had what is it? You had to strike the iron while it's hot kind of deal. So if they did come out with the Lando movie, it should have been immediately after Solo.
Mhm.
So it's still relevant to wait so many years after. I'm still gonna see it because again, I'm a Star Wars fan. You never know, I could be surprised. But to me, it's like, man, you guys are late on this. You guys are late on this, and why are we waiting so long? So, Orlando, and I think that was originally also an idea was Orlando series, but never came out. So I don't know what Disney is doing right now. I feel like they should let John Favreau and Dave control this part of Star Wars, get everybody else out, because these guys are more connected to what George Lucas was delivering and message. They're friends of George. They talk to George. And yeah, he doesn't own it, but at the end of the day, Star Wars is George Lucas.
Mhm.
Period. Regardless of who owns it now, it's George Lucas. So a lot of people reason why they're upset is that yes, it's not it's okay to change and to go a different way, but don't lose the principle of what Star Wars is. You know, you couldn't involve like and the prime example I gave is Mandalorian, man. Season 1, 3 was it's okay. 1 and 2, Chef's Kiss. That's where you go. That was something new. It was a TV series. We never seen a live action TV series. It's always been movies. So that's something new, but you still kind of kept it in the same principle of the Star Wars trilogy. There was a timeline, still seeing troopers. Like you could do a different story. Like heck, if they did Cal Kestis and made Jedi Survivor a show, you know, it's still within that same principle of Star Wars. You're trying something new with a new character, someone that we never knew of, but you're not changing it completely and adding these other characters that nobody knows. But again, we can only hope and just take it one day at a time. So I'm doing. And if I never see a new Star Wars movie or show ever again, we got a lot of things to, and it's okay to rewatch. Still would be a Star Wars fan. Still would be buying Star Wars merch, and
Yep.
still be watching the movies because I'm a Star Wars fan. I mean, there's not that many. There's people that are Ghostbuster fans. Now I know Ghostbusters recently in the last 2 3 years came out with a remake of a movie, but they have classic movies. Then you're still a fan. So if we never get anything else of Star Wars, it would kind of suck because we want it, but we still at least have a lot of things to rewatch and still continue to buy merchandise. So
That is for sure, man. So, all right, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of Tales of a Star Wars Fan. I want to thank Ricky for being our guest today. Ricky, tell everybody where we can find you and what you got coming up here on the channel.
well, guys, I am Pop the Bounty Collector on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter/X. That's where you can find me in my channel. Recently, I went to MegaCon. It's a big convention here in Orlando. So I have day 1, 2, 3, and 4 recaps, giving you guys an insight. If you ever were interested in going to MegaCon in Orlando, you can watch my videos. As the day of this I recording, I dropped a cosplay recap. So I recorded a lot of cosplay. That's one of the things that I like to see is people's, they talented people that make all these suits and armor and all this stuff. So I made a recap of everybody that I ran into and recorded. That's on the channel as well. I also did a Lego live, so I've been building Darth Vader's Lego helmet so you guys can see on replay Lego live, and I'll be starting Captain Rex pretty soon, so you'll see that on live. And then I got two boxes that I haven't even recorded yet. They were from GameStop. I got Funko Pops for $3.98, and they just went crazy about a week ago with a lot of clearance. So your boy loves to get Star Wars merchandise and figures, but at a good deal because your guy, I have to ball in the budget. So that's a video that's going to be coming out next week. All the pickups that I got from GameStop clearance. So that's what I got on my channel. What do you got? You got anything coming up forward?
Uh, kind of like you've been saying this whole video, man. Just I take it one day at a time. If I got an idea or something, I gonna go for it. But just kind of been slowly kind of figuring out how I want to do this upcoming year because I want this to be a bigger, more consistent year for my channel. So still kind of working on that a little bit.
Hey, but I did watch your video. I want to say last month you did a live video kind of talking about what you want to do and your goals for 2024. I love the ideas. I love where you're going. So everybody stay tuned. This man got great ideas. He's gonna be putting out great content. So watch the channel.
Appreciate that, man.
No problem.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Make sure you guys stay tuned. This will be a series we are going to be bringing back this year. So, going to be plenty of guests coming on. Really excited for the future of the show. And as always, you guys, with that being said, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one.
Nice.